Sony just made one of the biggest PlayStation announcements in years, and for a lot of gamers, it might be the beginning of the end. Starting in January 2028, every brand new PlayStation game will reportedly move to a digital-only release model. No discs, no physical copies, just downloads. Now, before you panic, if you've already got shelves full of PlayStation games, don't worry. Every game that's already released and any game launching before January 2028 is completely unaffected. Your collection isn't suddenly becoming useless. But after that, buying a brand new PlayStation game on disc could become a thing of the past. And honestly, we all saw the signs. It started with the collector's editions that came with a steel box but no actual game disc inside. Then we saw more games requiring massive downloads even when you bought them physically. Then came the biggest warning sign of them all. Titles being sold in physical boxes that only contained a digital code. At first, it felt like these were isolated decisions. Now it looks like they were preparing us for this all along. According to Sony, this move comes down to changing consumer habits. More players buy games digitally than ever before, so they want to focus on how the majority of players purchase games today. Retailers aren't disappearing either. You'll still be able to buy PlayStation games from stores, but instead of taking home a disc, you'll most likely be walking out with a download code. Convenient? Yeah, sure. But here's where things get interesting. If you're already someone who only buys digital games, this probably changes absolutely nothing for you. You preload your games, never swap disc, and everything sits neatly in your library. But if you're someone who loves collecting physical games, this is huge. Think about everything that disappears. Trading games with your friends, buying cheaper secondhand copies, finding launch day discounts at local stores, selling games after you've finished them, lining your shelves with games you've completed. That entire part of gaming culture starts disappearing. And then there's something even bigger. Ownership. When you buy a physical game, you can actually own something tangible. You can lend it to someone, sell it, display it, or keep it for decades. With digital, you're buying a license. As long as everything works, that's fine. But if your account gets compromised, a game gets delisted, licensing changes, or servers eventually disappear, things become a lot more complicated. We've already seen games vanish from digital storefronts before. So while digital libraries are incredibly convenient, they're never quite the same as owning something you can physically hold. Then there's the pricing. This is where a lot of gamers are worried. One of the biggest advantages of physical games has always been competition. Different retailers compete with each other, meaning you can often find a brand new game cheaper than the PlayStation Store price. Remove physical copies and Sony suddenly has far more control over pricing. Sure, retailers can still sell digital codes, but if physical competition fades away, launch prices become much harder to challenge. And let's be honest, do you really think digital-only games are suddenly going to become cheaper? History hasn't exactly suggested that. Now, to be fair, digital gaming does have real advantages. No scratch discs, no changing games every time you want to play something else, instant downloads, preloading games before release. Your entire library follows your account. It's incredibly convenient. That's exactly why digital has become so popular. But convenience isn't the whole conversation. The biggest question is, what does this mean for PlayStation 6? Because think about the timing, January 2028, that's right around when many people expect Sony's next console generation to arrive. The PS5 already introduced a digital edition. The PS5 Pro doesn't even include a disc drive by default. This announcement almost feels like Sony laying the foundation for a completely digital future. And if that's true, this won't just affect PlayStation exclusives. We're talking about Call of Duty, Battlefield, EA Sports FC, Resident Evil, Need for Speed, Grand Theft Auto, every major third-party release on PlayStation. Every single one. From Sony's perspective, the move makes perfect business sense. No manufacturing costs, no shipping, no retailer cards, no early copies leaking before launch. Everything happens inside their own ecosystem. But from the player's perspective, it feels like the end of an era. There's something special about walking into a store on launch day, holding the game in your hands, opening that case, adding it to your collection. For many gamers, that's been part of PlayStation experience for nearly 3 decades. And now, it might be disappearing forever. So, here's the real question. Is this simply the future of gaming? Or are we giving companies too much control over how we buy, own, and perceive the games we love? I would genuinely love to hear what you think. Are you already fully digital and couldn't care less? Or does losing physical games actually bother you? Drop your thoughts down in the comments because this is one of those announcements that's going to split the gaming community. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, you know what to do. Drop a like, subscribe to my channel. They really helps me out a lot, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let's crank out and move out.